Good afternoon, South Mississippi. Meteorologist Taylor Graham here. Wanted to give an update on some thunderstorms that we're watching on our first alert radar this afternoon. Along the coast, it's been fairly quiet today. Of course, extremely hot and humid. Everybody has been feeling that. But this afternoon, or even now, I should say this evening, we're watching some showers and storms that are starting to push in a little bit more to the north. And we actually do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of George County. That's until 5:30 this afternoon. So as you can tell here, most of South Mississippi at the moment not seeing too much rain, but we have a pretty powerful thunderstorm in northern George County that's producing a lot of lightning, heavy rainfall, and it could potentially be producing some large hail and some gusty winds. No confirmation of that at this time, but zooming in here, Lucedale, you're starting to see that heavy rainfall really begin to pick up. And again, a lot of lightning associated with this thunderstorm. It's not really moving too quickly, so with that heavy rain, that may lead to some localized flooding. That's something else to be aware of within this thunderstorm as it slowly pushes to the south and west. I want to take a look at our hail tracker to see how that's been progressing. It does look like, according to our radar indicated hail, the hail core within this thunderstorm may be weakening just a little bit, where we go from that brighter blue color into that gray color. That does show that the hail may be getting a little bit smaller, but we'll keep an eye on things to make sure that things don't pulse back up very quickly. Let's take a look and see possibly the size of this hail. At this time, looks like the hail may be closer to a ½ an inch, a little bit bigger than that. Earlier, when that severe thunderstorm warning was issued, there could have been some hail closer to an inch in diameter, which is quarter size. Doesn't look like it's quite as large at this point, but we'll keep an eye on these thunderstorms to make sure they don't pulse back up quickly where they get a little bit stronger. Now, there is plenty of energy in the atmosphere. Of course, it is extremely hot. It is extremely humid. And as far as I can tell too, some of these thunderstorms are producing what we call an outflow boundary. That's that rain-cooled air rushing out ahead of some of these thunderstorms. And we can see that on radar as well. I'm going to point that out here. This acts like kind of like a mini cold front. You see that thin green line there, that's that cooler air racing out ahead of some of these thunderstorms. And sometimes what happens is we can see additional showers and storms develop along that outflow boundary. That's something I'll pay attention to over the next few hours. As long as the sun is up, we still have a lot of energy in the atmosphere, so it's going to be easy for some of those showers and storms to develop. A few hours past the sunset, we start to lose the daytime heating, the energy in the atmosphere. It's going to be a bit more difficult for those showers and thunderstorms to sustain themselves. But for the time being, the most powerful thunderstorm definitely in George County. That severe thunderstorm warning in effect at least for another 5 minutes or so. Based off of the hail core, they may let that severe thunderstorm warning expire right on time. We'll see if they expand that a little bit later, but as far as I can tell, it looks like it is weakened just a little bit. However, I'm sure parts of northern George County, the Lucedale area, you are hearing some very, very loud rumbles of thunder. And we did see some strong thunderstorms move through Stone and Pearl River County about an hour or two ago. So some of us today have seen some pretty powerful thunderstorms. I'm not going to rule out a few more of these showers and thunderstorms over the next couple of hours. Let's also talk about the heat and humidity. It's been incredibly hot and humid today. Now, these temperatures are a bit of an improvement from where we were at earlier this afternoon and even late this morning. Where we're seeing those 70s, you're still seeing some of that rain-cooled air. So up into Stone County, where we had some thunderstorms earlier this afternoon, it's a little bit cooler. Closer to the coast in Jackson County, Harrison County, still very hot with temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. And when you factor in that high humidity, we've had the heat index today above 100 in many spots. Even at times, some spots had the heat index closer to 110. So we still have that heat advisory in effect at least until 7 o'clock this evening for our coastal areas. Right now, heat index 107 in Gaucher, 104 over in Long Beach. Heat index only, I say only at 99 in Gulfport, but at times today at the airport we had the heat index close to 105. Tomorrow will be a very similar day. Now, as far as tonight, just keep in mind that throughout I would say the first half of the evening, we do have a decent chance of seeing a few more showers and storms. As we get closer to midnight, rain chances pretty much completely diminish. It is going to stay very hot or I should say very warm, not necessarily hot, but very warm, very muggy. Not much of a wind in the forecast overnight tonight. The air will kind of feel stagnant. It's definitely feeling like summer here in South Mississippi, and our temperatures will gradually drop into the 70s overnight tonight. So in Gulfport, we're currently at 89. Haven't really seen any rain. As far as the Gulfport area goes today, feeling more like 99 with that high humidity. We can see some widely scattered showers and storms across the southeast. Even if you're not getting any rain at this point, it does look like some of those clouds from those showers and storms are starting to move a little bit closer to the coast. So that may cool us down just a little bit more over the next few hours. So some of those showers and storms to our north and east will slowly try to move farther to the south. A few more showers and storms are going to be possible. Other parts of the state, not really seeing much in the way of rain. I also want to talk about what's going on in the upper levels. We've got this big ridge of high pressure across the eastern part of the country. Up into the Pacific Northwest, they are underneath what we call a trough, an area of low pressure. For those of us underneath that area of high pressure, which includes the Gulf Coast and the Southeast, it has been very hot today. And even up into the Midwest, they've been dealing with a lot of that heat. Out into the Pacific Northwest, things have been quite a bit cooler. Here's a look at current temperatures. 94 in Chicago, 100 in Omaha. So LSU playing in the College World Series tonight, they're going to feel right at home with the heat and humidity. So that heat has expanded up into the northern plains and the Midwest. 91 in Dallas, 90 in Houston, but Seattle, a nice cool 55. If you're dreaming of cooler weather, head to the Northwest because it is much cooler up there. But for those of us in the Midwest, the Southeast, the East Coast, it is feeling every bit of summer, not only with the heat, but also the humidity. And for us in South Mississippi, this pattern is not going to change much over the next few days. Overnight tonight, rain chances decrease by midnight or so. We'll wake up tomorrow morning, low to mid 70s for the most part. We're going to be heating up quickly tomorrow. I expect high temperatures in the low to mid 90s throughout the day. And similar to today, there's a chance for some of those hit or miss showers and storms as we get into the afternoon, and some of those may linger into the evening. Not everyone gets a shower or storm, but some of these storms could have some frequent lightning, some gusty winds, and some heavy rainfall. And we do it again on Monday. Now that ridge of high pressure starts to move a little bit farther away from us on Monday, so there is, I would say, a slightly better chance of seeing some showers and storms by Monday afternoon, but generally speaking, the pattern is going to be the same. Hot, humid, those afternoon or daytime showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible. And some of those on Monday may also produce some heavy rainfall, some gusty winds, and quite a bit of lightning. This is very typical for this time of the year in South Mississippi. So if you're from this area, you know we're probably going to be seeing this several days, not only over the next couple of weeks, but even over the next several months. The upper air pattern still showing that big area of high pressure over the southeast and the east coast. It is going to move a little bit farther to the east compared to what it is today, but we're still going to be under the influence of that ridge of high pressure. Not one particular day looks to be like a huge washout at this point, but we will keep our high temperatures mainly in the low to mid 90s over the next several days. When you consider how humid it is, the heat index likely going to be right around 105 at times, maybe even a little bit higher than that, give or take a degree or two. So the heat index is something we do want to monitor as well. That's an indication of how hot it may appear to your body. When the humidity is higher, it's more difficult for our bodies to cool down. The sweat does not evaporate as efficiently, so it's not just the heat, it's the humidity that makes it feel more uncomfortable outside. It may seem obvious, but make sure you stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, take some breaks in the AC in the shade if you have to be working outdoors over the next several days. Maybe try to avoid the direct sunlight. Of course, that's going to make it feel even hotter, but also the UV index is considered extreme at this point. The sun angle, that's very high in the sky, so it's very easy to get sunburns. At least in the tropics, as far as I can tell, the Atlantic Basin, very, very quiet at this point. No development expected over the next 7 days. And really, to wrap up the month of June, doesn't look like we're going to be really seeing much tropical activity. Not complaining one bit about that, but that's fairly typical during hurricane season, that June and even July is fairly quiet. Once we get into August and September, that's typically when we start to see the tropics really begin to ramp up. But as for the middle to end of June, it's not uncommon to not really see too many tropical systems, and that's what we're seeing right now. So for us in South Mississippi, it's more heat, it's more humidity, it's those daily afternoon showers and storms. It's that instance where down the street somebody may get caught under some heavy rainfall where you may hardly get any rain at all. Once we head towards the overnight hours, that's when the rain starts to decrease as well. So a very classic summertime pattern setting up here across the Mississippi coast. No doubt about that, that heat and humidity is going to be sticking around for quite some time. I do want to check back in on our first alert radar just to see if they have extended that severe thunderstorm warning. At this time, it does not look like that. It does look like we are starting to see a few more showers and storms developing on what I call that outflow boundary that is moving into northern Jackson County. Lucedale currently seeing some very heavy rainfall, probably hearing some loud rumbles of thunder, but generally it looks like that thunderstorm has weakened just a little bit. So current time now is at 5:33. We have our newscast coming up in just a little under 30 minutes. Hopefully you can join me there for another look at our first alert radar, another update on the forecast, and of course all of the news that's going on in South Mississippi. So with that, I will leave you with a few more images of our first alert radar. Hopefully everyone can try and stay cool this evening with that intense heat and humidity.